Walk past the staff car park at any independent garage specializing in Japanese and Korean models, or any multi-brand workshop where the technicians have a genuine choice about what they drive, and the pattern is visible without explanation. Toyota, Mazda, Honda, Kia, Suzuki. Not because mechanics get a discount, not because they don't know what else is available, but because they know things about these cars that the rest of the market discovers through ownership. They know which timing systems actually last. They know which gearbox fluids matter and which one a manufacturer lied about. They know exactly what a £4,000 unplanned repair bill looks like from the inside. And they know which vehicles generate those bills on a regular schedule and which ones don't see them until the engine has covered 150,000 miles without drama. This video covers 7 specific cars, not brands, specific models, specific years, specific specifications. The ones mechanics across the UK are buying for themselves and recommending to their families without prompting. Only 7 from hundreds of options currently available in the used market, because the standard a mechanic applies to their own car is different from the standard applied to a showroom brochure. If you've ever wanted to know what the person who fixes cars actually drives, rather than what they get paid to book in for expensive work, subscribe now and ring that notification bell, because that's the conversation this channel is built around. Starting at number 7. The car the mechanics consistently point their younger colleagues towards when budget matters and reliability can't be compromised is the Suzuki Swift, 2017 to 2023, in the 1.2 DualJet mild hybrid petrol variant. The reason mechanics trust it sits in one specific engineering decision Suzuki made and the premium European manufacturers didn't: port injection rather than direct injection. Direct injection delivers fuel straight into the cylinder. It's cleaner on emissions testing, more efficient on paper, and better for the figures that appear in manufacturer marketing. It also means fuel never sprays across the intake valves, and without that wash cycle, carbon builds on those valves over time, restricting airflow and reducing performance. The fix costs £300 through a specialist with the right equipment. On a VW Golf or a BMW 1 Series with direct injection, that £300 job arrives predictably between 60,000 and 80,000 miles. The Swift's K12D DualJet uses twin injectors per cylinder, positioned close to the intake valves, spraying fuel into the manifold on every cycle rather than directly into the combustion chamber. Those valves stay clean without intervention. A Swift engine at 80,000 miles looks like a newer one. That's not incidental, it's the result of a design choice. Beyond the injection system, the engine uses a timing chain rather than a belt, a twin-cam layout with variable valve timing on both intake and exhaust. And here's the thing about the VVT, it works reliably, without the drama it causes on German engines, because Suzuki designed it with long-term durability rather than peak dyno figures in mind. Conventional mechanical water pump instead of the electric units that generated warning-free overheating events on BMW's N20 and N26. Service interval at 12,500 miles with standard 5W30 oil, shorter than VW's long life schedule, which is the point. A full service at an independent runs to around £120. An alternator comes in at £85. A water pump, when it eventually needs replacing, runs to £95 fitted. ADAC breakdown frequency data for the Swift 1.2 across 2018 and 2022 placed it in the top 10% of all cars measured. Not in its class, across all vehicles. Which owner satisfaction surveys covering 2020 to 2022 registration Swifts returned a satisfaction score of 97%. That figure reflects ownership experience, not test drive impressions. Those are different measurements. It won't impress on the motorway, that's not what it's built to do. What it does deliver is 12,000 miles a year for a decade without meaningful drama, and the running costs to make that decade affordable. The Honda Jazz doesn't photograph well. The interior packaging, Honda's Magic Seat system, which folds the rear bench into configurations that defy what the external dimensions suggest are possible, generates space that competitors with more conventionally designed cabins can't match. But it does look odd in a car park, and looking odd in a car park costs residual value in a market driven by first impressions. None of that matters to the mechanics who own them. The 1.3 IV Tech petrol running through the third generation Jazz from 2015 to 2020 produced its power through a naturally aspirated unit that Honda spent decades refining. No turbocharger, no intercooler, no wastegate to stick, no actuator to fail, no boost pipe to crack in cold weather and leak undetected. The engine breathes freely, services correctly through an intake system that Honda dealerships use as a demonstration piece when explaining port injection versus direct injection to customers who've owned German cars and been built accordingly. The Jazz forgives ownership in a way that BMW doesn't. A Jazz that missed an oil change by 3,000 miles is recoverable. A BMW 3 Series, following the extended condition-based servicing schedule, regularly pushing oil changes past 15,000 miles on the manufacturer's own recommendation, accumulates wear metal in degraded oil, and the consequences appear at rebuild time rather than at the service reminder. Honda's 12,500 mile interval, combined with the engine's inherent robustness, leaves a realistic margin between perfect maintenance and acceptable maintenance. Most owners live in that margin. The 2020 onwards Jazz in hybrid form, carrying Honda's iMMD system, produced 4 problems per 100 vehicles in Japanese reliability surveys, directly comparable to Toyota Corolla hybrid data from Consumer Reports. The iMMD architecture differs from Toyota's Synergy Drive. The petrol engine primarily generates electricity rather than driving the wheels directly at normal speeds, which reduces mechanical stress on the engine and drivetrain simultaneously. Honda's hybrid battery carries a 10-year warranty on UK specification cars. Mechanics buy the Jazz because they've stripped enough European alternatives to know what the ownership experience looks like from the inside. The Jazz interior, in that comparison, looks very straightforward. The Kia Sportage's 4th generation sat in a segment crowded with European crossovers generating the exact failure patterns covered in every reliability survey published between 2016 and 2023. The Renault Kadjar beside it carries the 1.2 TCE timing chain issues. The Nissan Qashqai besides that runs a CVT that which documented failing before 31,000 miles. The VW Tiguan opposite the showroom carries the DQ200 sealed gearbox problem on DSG specified cars. The Sportage arrived with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty that Kia offered not as a marketing exercise, but as a consequence of the engineering standards applied throughout the vehicle. That warranty commitment existed because Kia needed to close a trust deficit with European buyers who remembered Korean cars from the 1990s. Closing that deficit required internal engineering quality standards calibrated to support the warranty rather than exceed it at the margins. The result is an owned experience that the warranty data validates. Kia's warranty claim rate per vehicle across the 2016 to 2021 Sportage sits well below the segment average. The 1.6 GDI petrol, direct injection, so intake valve deposits develop, requires a cleaning service at 60,000 to 80,000 miles. Mechanics factor this in as a known scheduled item rather than an emergency. £200 every 60,000 miles compared against the alternative costs on European crossovers sharing the same forecourt space. The 2.0 CRDI diesel manual carries the strongest long-term credentials in the Sportage range. A straightforward diesel with EGR valve attention required at around 80,000 miles, not the frequency problem that affects French diesels, a single predictable maintenance item, combined with a 6-speed manual that removes the sealed gearbox from the ownership equation entirely. ADAC breakdown data places the 2016 to 2021 Sportage in the top third of its class for drivetrain reliability. Consistently solid, predictably solid. In this segment, that consistency is exactly what mechanics are buying when they put their family in one. Mechanics who recommend the Tucson to their families are working through a specific calculation. Above average reliability data from every independent source that measured it, the 7-year warranty that transferred to the second owner within the original registration period on qualifying cars, and a parts pricing structure that doesn't punish the owner the way premium European alternatives do. The 1.6 TGDI diesel, turbocharged direct injection, generates the question directly. It does develop intake valve deposits, and Hyundai's service schedule includes an intake cleaning recommendation that converts the known issue into a scheduled maintenance item. Budget approximately £200 at 60,000 miles. The turbocharger, a Borg-Warner unit, runs to 130 to 150,000 miles before showing bearing wear in most documented cases. Twice the failure window of equivalent turbos on French-engined crossovers sharing dealership forecourts in the same period. The 2.0 CRDI diesel in the 2016 to 2021 Tucson shares its engine family with the Kia Sportage 2.0 CRDI. The same unit mechanics chose in both cars for the same reasons. EGR valve attention at 80,000 miles, DPF maintenance on urban cycle cars, a routine maintenance profile rather than a failure mode, and one that the 7-year warranty covers during the period when most owners experience it. Which owner satisfaction surveys covering 2017 to 2021 Tucson owners returned above average scores for reliability and below average scores for running costs relative to purchase price, the specific combination the mechanics look for when the car is going on their own driveway. At number 3, and the car that generates the strongest consensus among mechanics when the conversation turns to family crossovers, the Mazda CX-5. Specifically, the 2.5 SkyActiv-G naturally aspirated petrol from 2017 to 2023. Mazda made a deliberate decision not to turbocharge the SkyActiv-G 2.5. Every European competitor of any consequence fitted a turbo to their equivalent model. Smaller displacement, forced induction, better emissions figures on the standardized test cycle, better fuel consumption numbers in the marketing brochure. Mazda's engineers chose compression ratio instead. The 2.5 SkyActiv-G runs a 13:1 compression ratio, managing knock not through a turbo or a combined injection system, but through Mazda's own piston cavity geometry. A 4-2-1 exhaust manifold design that reduces residual gas heat, and high-pressure 6-hole direct injectors calibrated specifically for this compression range. No turbocharger means none of the components that generate workshop visits on BMW efficient dynamics petrol engines at equivalent mileage. No boost pipes to crack. No intercoolers to rot at their end tanks. No wastegate actuator to stick. The CX-5's 2.5 petrol carried none of these failure modes across the model run. And that's before the timing system. The CX-5's timing chain doesn't sit at the back of the engine like an afterthought. It sits at the front, driven by an oil pressure and tensioner system engineered to outlast the car. Unlike the BMW N47, where the chain stretches, the guide shatters, and you're dropping the entire engine to sweep up the plastic, the Mazda setup is accessible, inspectable during a routine service, and built around a tensioner design that doesn't generate the catastrophic failure sequence N47 owners know by name. The chain arrangement alone explains why Mazda independents charge £180 to £220 for a major service, while BMW specialists quote £380 before the chain inspection surcharge lands on top. Consumer Reports American data. The CX-5 sells in significant North American numbers, generating a reliable sample. Puts the 2.5 petrol at 11 problems per 100 vehicles. The BMW X3 sits at 67 problems per 100 in the same dataset. Not a narrow margin, not even a comparison that requires analysis. It's simply a different outcome from different engineering decisions. And number 2, the car that generates the most genuine enthusiasm from mechanics working across the full range of crossovers in this class, the Honda CR-V Hybrid from 2019 to 2023. Consumer Reports data from the American market, where this car has operated longer across a larger ownership sample, recorded 4 problems per 100 vehicles across the CR-V Hybrid model run. The BMW X3 sits at 67 problems per 100 in the same dataset. The Mercedes GLA at 71 problems per 100. The Range Rover Evoque, sharing a segment and a price point with the CR-V in UK showrooms, generated recall and warranty action across 2018 to 2022 at rates which documented extensively. 4 per 100 versus 67 per 100. That differential defines the difference between a car mechanics buy and a car mechanics repair. Honda's IMMD system drives the CR-V primarily through an electric motor, with the 2-litre Atkinson cycle petrol engine generating electricity rather than driving the wheels directly across most normal driving conditions. The petrol engine rarely carries full drivetrain load. It runs to charge the battery and provide power during sustained motorway cruising. That operational profile reduces wear on the engine significantly compared to a conventional drivetrain doing equivalent annual mileage. Honda's hybrid battery carries a 5-year, 90,000-mile warranty in the UK specification, shorter than Toyota's extended hybrid health check coverage, but the battery failure rate in real-world UK operation across the CR-V hybrid model run makes the warranty window largely academic. The regenerative braking system, capturing energy during deceleration to recharge the battery, means the CR-V hybrid's brakes carry far less work than the same components on a conventional crossover covering identical miles. Mechanics with high-mileage CR-V hybrids on the lifts report brake disc and pad replacement at 80,000 to 100,000 miles, rather than the 40,000 to 50,000 mile intervals typical on European equivalents. On the lifetime maintenance cost of a car bought and run for 10 years, that difference alone represents several £100s. Stack it against the reduced engine wear, the warranty coverage, and the 4 versus 67 reliability figure, and the case for number 2 on this list requires no further argument. An independent analysis of 2,000 UK car owners, conducted through Car Gurus in 2024 and tracking unplanned repair costs over a 3-year ownership period, found Japanese and Korean cars averaged £380 in unplanned repairs over 3 years. European cars in the same segments averaged £1,210. Premium European cars, BMW, Mercedes, Audi, averaged £2,140. Mechanics who work on these cars every day don't need that survey. They see the pattern from the inside on every lift, every working week. The cars on this list arrive for scheduled servicing. The cars that didn't make this list arrive for repairs. That pattern doesn't require explanation. It requires awareness. Number 1 is the car that comes up without prompting when you ask mechanics across the UK what they'd buy with their own money for daily family transport. The Toyota Corolla Hybrid, specifically the Touring Sports Estate Form, 2019 to 2023, in either the 1.8 or 2.0 hybrid specification. Consumer Reports American data, 3 problems per 100 vehicles. The lowest problem rate recorded across the entire non-luxury car market in the survey period. Every premium European estate scores worse. Every volume European estate scores worse. Every car in the German premium segment scores worse. The Corolla Hybrid's 3 per 100 isn't a narrow lead. It's a category of performance that competitors don't reach. ADAC breakdown data for the Corolla Hybrid in Europe placed it in the top 5% of all vehicles for breakdown frequency across 2019 to 2023. Not within its class, across all vehicles. The Swift got into the top 10% for its class. The Corolla is in the top 5% of everything ADAC measured. The Toyota Hybrid Synergy Drive uses a timing chain. No belt, no wet belt maintenance interval, no chain at the back of the engine horror story. The hybrid system has operated in production since 1997, across the Prius, the Auris Hybrid, the Yaris Hybrid, and now the Corolla. Toyota's failure data on this drivetrain covers more than a quarter century of real-world European operation. The engineering decisions in the current generation aren't experimental. They're the product of 25 years of iterative refinement on a system that started reliable and improved with every generation. The Atkinson cycle petrol engine carries lower mechanical stress than a conventional Otto cycle unit doing equivalent work. The electric motor handles most low-speed driving. The battery pack, warranted up to 15 years through Toyota's hybrid health check program at UK main dealers, rarely fails before 200,000 miles in European operation, across a sample that now includes hundreds of thousands of UK cars. The regenerative braking means brake discs outlast conventional equivalents by factors that mechanics who've serviced high-mileage Corollas find themselves having to explain to owners who've only ever owned European cars. Parts pricing at an independent sits roughly 45% below equivalent German estate alternatives. A full major service at a Toyota independent, filters, brake fluid, plugs, runs to £160 to £200. The same service on a BMW 3 Series Touring runs to £380 to £550 depending on the engine fitted. The Corolla Hybrid Touring sports in the UK used car market. 2020 to 2022 registration, 30,000 to 50,000 miles, sits at between £16,000 and £21,000 at current pricing. A BMW 3 Series Touring of equivalent age and mileage sits at a similar or lower figure. One averages £380 in unplanned repairs over 3 years. The other averages £2,140. One registers 3 problems per 100. The other sits at 67. Mechanics know exactly which car is which. Now you do too. 7 cars, only 7 from a market that offers hundreds of options. The mechanics who drive them made their choices with more information than any reliability survey provides, because they see the inside of these engines. They know what fails and at what mileage and for what cost, and they've watched European alternatives generate the bills that fill every reliability database and every comment section on this channel. The Japanese and Korean manufacturers on this list didn't reach these outcomes through accident. They arrived through specific decisions. Port injection where direct injection saves pennies. Metal guides where plastic saves weight. Service intervals calibrated to engine wear rather than marketing convenience. And warranties calibrated to what the engineering will genuinely support. Which car on this list do you own? And which failure from a previous European car pushed you towards Japanese or Korean? Tell me below. The comments on this channel have been pushing towards this list for months. I want to know whether the mechanics' recommendations match what the owners already know from experience.